What is going on, everybody? It is episode 719 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here on this Friday afternoon with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Happy Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Am I right, guys?
TGIF, and you're
TGIF.
not even old enough to remember like TGIF on Friday nights.
What does that mean?
It was a whole block of television shows that you watched on Friday nights.
Oh,
yeah, it's okay. But we can also go to TGI Fridays.
Yeah, which is going out of business.
Yes. Well, they all are. You know, I've been told recently that we're in this booming economy. I know this because somebody on Twitter said it the other day. Somebody on Twitter, where nobody lies, said, why would you vote for Donald Trump? We have a booming economy. Things are going great. Why would you change? And I'm like, that's perfect. Of course. It's 100% true. Everything's great right now.
Yeah. It's we need to vote Trump to save TGI Fridays.
Exactly. We need to save TGI Fridays, Ruby Tuesdays, Applebee's.
There's got to be better arguments than that.
Look, I'm an Applebee's stan here, okay? Here's the thing. Half-price apps after 9, just as good in your 30s as they are when you're in your 20s.
I mean, yeah, they're pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I enjoy it. It's a reason to go out at night.
Yes.
Guys,
this is so sad.
We got a bunch of stuff.
You get one of their like fishbowl.
No, I get
cocktails.
No. I get boneless.
No,
wings.
you get a Shirley Temple.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
do.
get. Guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today, but before we get started, would you please hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here already. The more people that subscribe, the more times I can go to TGI Fridays.
Seriously, yeah. This is the only thing that you have to look forward to every week.
Share these videos out with your friends, your family, your loved ones, people you like, people you don't like, mortal enemies if you have them. The more people that you share the episodes and live streams with, the faster shows like this can grow. It is the best way to help us. So thank you guys so much for that. We got a bunch of stuff to get into today. First and foremost, there's a long-winded discourse going on online, on the internet, about the upcoming reboot of American Psycho, where everyone is fan casting who is going to play Patrick Bateman, and everybody else is discussing, is this a movie about capitalism? Is it a movie about white capitalism? That's one of the
Whiteness.
things. It was called, they said brutal white capitalism. That was a phrase I actually saw.
I hate everything.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna talk about it because there was some news. Some journos got involved. Remember, we use journos as a slur here. They got involved and they wanted to do some fan casting, which included gender and race swapped. Patrick
I swear,
Bateman.
literally, Variety put together a list of the frontrunners to play Patrick Bateman in this new reboot, and there were 12 actors and actresses on it. Half of them were white males. Okay, so they clearly have an agenda set. They're pretty dead set on the idea of making American Psycho diverse, even though Hollywood already did that and it failed, and everyone hated it.
So we had 20 there.
This one's from Pop Culture Junkie, and then there was TGI Fridays, where the menu at one time was so big that if you dropped it on the floor, you ran the risk of breaking your foot.
Based?
The diner menus are so long, it really gives me anxiety.
Yeah, it's too much choice.
Like, I don't even know if I ask for this, if you're gonna, like, know how to make it. Like, what's going on back there?
Yeah.
It can't possibly be cost effective.
How do you do that? So we're going to talk about that today, guys. We're also going to talk about the ex-CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch. If you're my age, you remember Abercrombie & Fitch especially. Very, very popular when I was in my teens and early 20s. He has been arrested and looks like he was getting up to some Diddy-esque business. That's what they called it, Diddy-esque.
He was possibly, allegedly diddling.
Yeah, sex trafficking.
Yeah, that's the charge. Did you shop at Abercrombie? I mean, I know it was at its prime during your teen years, but
I did not.
You did not partake.
I did not. Not my thing.
Did you go inside
I had
the store?
no puka shell necklaces either.
Did you ever go inside the store?
I don't know if I went in. I dated a girl who worked at Hollister, so I went into Hollister.
It was owned by the same parent company.
But it wasn't my.
But she wasn't being preyed upon by some weird,
as far as I know,
executive.
Well, she's the one who told me that like the rule for getting hired there was your manager had to, when you got interviewed, was you basically got hired on whether they would sleep with you or not. Not that they would try to, but you had to be considered attractive enough.
But it's also kind of a flex.
Yeah.
You know, you dated a girl who was attractive enough to work at Hollister.
It was a long time ago, and I never wore the brands. I would never wear the brands. It wasn't really my thing.
Not even with the discount.
Not even with the discount.
Elizabeth Schuster sent us a 20. Brett, I am so glad you recommended Chuck and that I found it at my local thrift store soon after. I've been binge watching and I'm almost done with season 3. I'm obsessed with it. Happy Friday, Brett, Mary, and crisis actors.
Absolutely awesome. So funny thing, Olivia posted the other day. She's after Zachary Levi made his post about bias in Hollywood. She quote tweeted it and said, "Me and Brett are rewatching Chuck because we fell in love watching the show." That's literally what happened. And we're rewatching it right now. And I'm going to tell you one thing, guys. They couldn't remake it now. There is so much male gaze in this show.
What do you mean?
The way the women are shot.
Though they're not portraying the males gazing, they're just
the women. It's designed
imposing the male gaze on the female characters.
It's designed for the male gaze, as they call it, the male gaze.
I mean, everything kind of was until 10 years ago.
So it's an amazing show. It still has my favorite line of all time from any character ever, which is when the store is being boycotted. The employees of the Buy More are staging a revolution against the managerial team. And John Casey, the NSA spy who works at the Buy More undercover, decides he wants to get involved. And he says, the only thing I hate more than hippie and neoliberal fascists and anarchists are the hypocrite fat cat suits they eventually grow up to become. Still the greatest line ever delivered in a TV show ever. You have to picture the actor Adam Baldwin saying this while a bunch of pimply 20-somethings with Nerf guns are in front of him.
I just imagine, when I look into Brett's mind, it's just filing cabinets full of things like this.
Exactly. So we're going to, but I'm glad that you're enjoying Chuck. It is a fantastic series, and everyone should go watch it. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's on, I believe, HBO Max right now. But I canceled my HBO Max, so we have to watch it on Prime.
It's also on Mubi.
When Mary told me Mubi was a thing, I thought she was lying.
We had a collective mental breakdown about that. It's on Mubi.
That's not a real thing. Tubi already exists.
It's on Peebo.
How can Tubi and Mubi be separate things?
I don't know, man.
So we're going to talk about that. Guys, we're getting back into it. We're going to reel this back in.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about the absolute state of the modern women.
Yeah, I guess we need to have yet another conversation about modern women being crazy.
Yes. Let's go ahead and do it. You ready to go?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. First things first. Mary is very excited about this, and I do mean very excited.
Normally, when we start the show with a weird food news topic,
correct,
it's something that absolutely disgusts me, like hot dog water.
This doesn't?
This doesn't. So Jimmy John's is putting out a Picklewich, where instead of bread, it's just a half of a pickle on the sandwich. It's you don't need to put pickles on your sandwich, or you could still put pickles on your sandwich. But this is I want this. I will try this.
The quote underneath from Jurassic Park says, "Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they never stopped to think if they should."
No, but this is perfect. Would you not eat this?
I feel your fingers will get very slimy.
It sounds messy. Yeah,
Yes.
It sounds like it's not going to have the structural integrity, but I still want it.
Could they put a smaller piece of bread, a very thin piece of bread over it?
This is for all of the keto people, isn't it? Or are they allowed to have pickles? I don't know.
have no idea. You have to ask. We need Alex Clark here to tell us whether that's allowed.
We need her answers. But would you try this?
No.
No? You hate pickles.
No, I don't hate pickles. I don't want that much pickle.
That much pickle is just too
That's
much
too
for
much.
most people.
Yeah.
But I like pickles, so I would totally eat this.
I also love the I'm assuming there's a reason why there's a witch behind it
What?
in the picture.
Why? Oh, why?
I have no idea.
Is this supposed to be their Halloween sandwich?
guess
I don't
it's a Halloween
understand.
sandwich, yeah.
Because it's scary looking.
The top comment says, "Go home, Jimmy John's, you're drunk."
I mean, I'm cool with this. They're also releasing their own pickle flavored chips, so you can eat your Picklewich with pickle chips, with pickles on the Picklewich, and then drink pickle juice with your Picklewich.
Dill pickle chips are fine. I'm okay with dill pickle chips.
I love pickle chips.
All right. So, let us know, guys. Is this something that you would try to go? Did
you actually end up going to get fried pickles with Cody Dennison afterwards, after the show? I was like, I'm gonna go home, but y'all have fun. You bro out with your pickles.
That was actually what she said. She said that exact. I mean, she didn't say bro out with your pickles, but she said, what is it you just said?
I don't even know what I said, but it was something like that.
That exact thing. You're like, yeah, I'm out. I'm not going.
I'm gonna head home, but you have fun with that. They're great.
The funny thing was, like, when we were on the way there, I was like worried that I misheard him, and I'm like, maybe these are something different. Maybe.
What do you? No.
It's like, but they weren't. It was exactly what
you
were
wanted. On the same page. Yeah, they're great. Pickles.
All right, guys, we got more to get into today. Apparently, Helen Mirren has something to say about Kurt Cobain.
Kurt Cobain. If only you were alive today, we could eat fried pickles together. No, what she really said is that she always says it's so sad that Kurt Cobain died when he did, because he never saw GPS. It's the most wonderful thing to watch my little blue spot walking down the street. I just find it completely magical and unbelievable.
Is there some type of lore here that I'm missing?
I feel like we're missing context, but maybe she's just saying words.
Does somebody know whether there was like lore here that I'm missing? Because otherwise it just seems like a complete aside. It would be like me saying, I don't know. Like, what
is Helen Mirren like going senile? I don't understand.
It would be like me saying, I'm so sad that Prince died before he got a chance to eat a pickle sandwich from Jimmy John's.
Like not saying Kurt Cobain's death wasn't sad. Of course it was. But I don't think that he's missing out on anything given what we talk about every day on this show.
But I think that this is a sign of mental health for us, where it's like, when I see this, I don't assume she's just lost her mind. I just assume that there's lore or context that I'm missing. But it's funnier to think that, sometimes celebrities just decide to go off the rails and say something insane.
Well, she was talking about her age. She said, I'm 79. I never thought I would be 79. And then you say, okay, well, this is it. This is what 79 is, And it's kind of okay. It's not brilliant, but it wasn't that brilliant to be 25 either.
Yeah.
So it's not a question of seeking youth. It's a question of living the life you have as fully and as positively and enjoyably and confusingly and everything that it was when you were younger. It's just called life.
That was beautifully put, Helen.
She's a young spirit, and she is very confusing. We have a 20 from Nate. Did Cobain off himself because he got lost?
No, I don't think that's what happened.
You could say he needed direction in life.
I don't think that that's what happened, but people are making their own very, very inappropriate comments. Guys. Anyways, I just thought it was weird. I like Helen Mirren as an actress, but I just don't know what the Kurt Cobain of it all is.
A little loopy.
I do think it's kind of interesting. I still say, like, look, I don't know, but if I was Google and I wanted to lobby for legislation, right, in the government, if I was Google or Apple, every time I wanted something, I would just go to the government and hit the button that turns off Google Maps or Apple Maps and be like, give us what we want. Nobody will be able to get to work. Nobody will be able to get anywhere. And then MapQuest stock would just shoot to the sky.
I actually did not memorize how to get anywhere until I moved to West Virginia, because I lived in a city beforehand, and it was way more confusing to get anywhere back then. Now it's just road.
Yeah.
There's nothing to learn.
Well, a lot of times, like, to get someplace here, it's many, many miles away, but only 4 turns.
Yeah, literally.
It's like if I'm going from here into like Frederick or even into to parts of DC, it's like road, turn, and then you go the whole way, and then it's 2 more turns.
But she also, in this interview, said she's grateful for spending most of her life on this earth without technology.
She's right.
And that's really poignant. I do get jealous of people who got to become adolescents and adults and live most of their adult lives without all of the quote unquote conveniences technology has given us.
Well, here's an idea. So before I moved out here, so like when I lived back in Minnesota after 2013, I was living in the city, and this is like right before I went to rehab, got clean and everything. I didn't drive a car for like 10 years. So when I came back to driving a car after 10 years, was like I never before that experienced like using a phone to get around. You just knew how to get places. So it's like a before and after picture of life.
I'm kind of shocked you were able to learn how to drive all over again.
Oh no, it really wasn't a problem.
It's just ingrained in you at a certain point, I guess.
When I went to buy my car and I did the test drive, I told the guy who gave me the test drive, I was like, that was the first time I've driven a car in 10 years.
I have no idea how I passed my driver's test. It was just a stroke of luck, it must have been, because I am convinced if I took it again today, I would not pass.
Parallel parking would get you.
I didn't really learn how to drive after getting my license for at least another few years. Yeah. And I'm still not great at it, so.
You'll get it one day.
Yeah, maybe.
You gotta live through it, though.
At this rate, I don't know if that's true, but.
Bad news for the Ukraine.
Yeah, they might lose. They might lose their biggest star, the fat Leonardo DiCaprio lookalike.
No, bad news for the Ukraine because Russia is sending him over there to fight.
Well, no, this says Russian fat Leonardo DiCaprio sent to fight at the Ukraine front after weight gain spoiled his likeness to the A-lister. He went from Thinception to the Great Fatsby. I always say this, but whoever wrote that, give them a raise immediately. Yep. I'm sure they felt really proud of themselves after they wrote that.
Well, anytime you see that type of writing in an article, you can just picture the person going like this as they do that, where they like kick their head side to side.
So this says he rose to a short-lived fame for his resemblance to Leonardo DiCaprio, and he has now been sent to fight in Ukraine because he packed on too many pounds and wasn't working anymore.
It's not like Leo's super thin these days.
He's kind of gotten chubby. He has that bloat that you get. It's the twink death.
Maybe what it is like they send him to fight on the front lines and he loses the weight in battle and then they call him back.
He was getting exempted from military service for this. Is the most shocking part to me.
Everyone's worried about what's going to happen to BTS, but the real question is will Russian Leo DiCaprio be allowed to skip the front lines?
Like, he exempted himself from the draft for being a fat Leonardo DiCaprio lookalike.
How does that work?
I don't know.
They're like, apply with special skills. Look like fat Leo DiCaprio.
Do you see it?
I see it, especially in this one. He's definitely fatter Leo DiCaprio.
He looks very unhappy in his military uniform.
I mean, wouldn't you be?
Yeah.
He's like, I have to trade in my snazzy tux and red carpet galas for this.
Before long, it was Catch Me If You Can for the modeling agencies. We got a 20 from Rhaegar Targaryen. Calvin candy after eating the whole candy store.
Maybe what it is like Putin really loves like Leo movies.
Yeah, maybe.
Departed is his favorite movie.
I do wonder things like that.
Like what does Vladimir Putin watch before bed?
Yeah, does he watch TV? Does he watch movies? Is he a person?
Stuff about military history, I'm sure. Something.
He just watches documentaries.
Yeah, boring. I mean, I don't believe for a second that that's what Zelensky watches. I think Zelensky watches like Whose Line Is It Anyways?
Obviously, in North Korea, they are not allowed to watch Western media, but I am sure exceptions are made for Kim Jong-un, and I just have to wonder what he's watching.
He's probably watching reruns of The Apprentice.
I want to see his IMDb trivia section.
Actually, okay, that is a really good idea to look at. It'd be like, would be like some type of docu-series. It was like, and it's like dictators watch later list. Or,
no, I think that he just like maybe he's a Leo fan too.
Political dictators watch Q, and it's just.
And maybe he likes rom-coms.
Which one?
Maybe Kim Jong-un likes rom-coms. He has a soft
stoner comedy.
He has
he likes Seth Rogen movies.
He likes 21 Jump Street.
Yeah, he likes, and he really thinks that Channing Tatum doesn't get the work he deserves. That's what I believe.
Kim Jong-un, if you're watching, we would love to have you on the show. If we can bring a translator.
Get back to us.
Yeah.
All right. What is this?
I found this super amusing. Cate Blanchett's biggest pet peeve is leaf blowers, and for some reason she just brings it up all the time in interviews.
She's just on a one-woman jihad against leaf blowers.
Yeah, Cate Blanchett is like waging war against leaf blowers. She wants to wipe them off the face of the earth. Let's take a look at her thoughts.
I don't understand leaf blowers, and I don't understand golf. But leaf blowers, if I see a leaf blower...
Totally gonna get copyrighted for the music.
Oh, whatever.
I will... leaf blowers, I go from 0 to 1,000. I moving
What do you
leaves
not
from
like
one
about-
place to another. You blow leaves from one side of the pavement to the other side of the pavement, only for them to be blown back again. And
Do you think she's ever actually done her own yard work?
No.
Like, is that why she doesn't functionally understand them? Do lawnmowers annoy her as well?
But I'm kind of getting convinced, like, maybe she's right.
No.
Hear her out.
You know what it is? She's probably got a problem because she really likes those power washing videos. Maybe she watches the power washing videos in her
Like
free
you.
time. Yes, like me.
I'm gonna blow them again. To have the wind go and blow them back in the first place. I cannot. It's all that is wrong with the human race. I could be here for 3 hours talking to you about leaf blowers. They drive me nuts. I hate them so much. Gardeners, I mean, their faces, they know that what they're doing is stupid. I'm like a barking dog, like a little squirrel.
She's kind of like Gwyneth Paltrow. She's completely disconnected from normal people and doesn't care.
If I see leaf blower, it's just, that's it. I'm gone for the rest of the afternoon. It's like, what happened to the broom? I hate leaf blowers so much.
I wonder what she has to say about rakes.
Is the rake somehow better? Like, it's more dignified to use a rake than a leaf blower? It must be the sound that bothers her.
Of course.
She's like, why would you make those undignified noises? It was like those, do you remember, did we cover the video where the lady got really mad because people were doing construction outside her house at 9 a.m.? And everyone's like, that's when the, construction gets started.
I love watching HRH collection videos because she had like contractors doing work on her house and she would get so mad when it was audible in the video.
Of course.
Like, I love watching that.
All right, well,
that's my thing.
You know what, ladies? That's your own female privilege for not having to do that type of work.
I love how she said, you look on the gardeners' faces and they know what they're doing is stupid.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Everyone's allowed to have their...
What's your pet peeve?
Those are the types of questions you have to bring up. Like, I need more time to think about it. I have
just
plenty.
one of them. Not the biggest one, but what is it?
You first, and then I'll try to come back and think of one.
I was just thinking about this the other day, but now it escapes me.
I don't know what my pet peeves are off the top of my head, but I have them.
Maybe it'll come to us later.
Yeah, maybe something like that will come down the line, but I feel like when you're put on the spot, it doesn't. It's like the other day when you asked, like, they asked what's the most embarrassing story from when you were in high school. I'm like, I'm sure that
I
exists.
blocked it all out.
Like, I'm sure the trauma has been blocked out, but in my mind, I don't remember. I'm sure that it happened.
I remembered it. I just wasn't going to share it publicly because it was that embarrassing. But Brett knows.
Yes, she told me off air.
Brett knows. It's bad.
All right. Sorry, guys, I can't share with you. I was sworn to secrecy. All right, this is a real thing. This is a real thing. There is a new movie coming out. It was filmed in 2023, it looks like. It's called The Carpenter, and it's a movie where Jesus trains a guy to be an MMA fighter in Nazareth.
The King of the Ring meets the Prince of Peace is the tagline on the movie poster. It's called The Carpenter.
I can't wait. I'm so down for this.
So this says... It's a story of a champion MMA prize fighter who is befriended by a benevolent carpenter from Nazareth.
Well, please.
Thank you.
I'm telling you, the Chosen Universe spin-offs are getting out of hand.
Well, we were just joking about that because someone asked you about your progress on The Chosen the other day.
I'm still working on it, guys. I gotta.
Yeah, there's a whole Chosen cinematic universe that they're creating, and you're wondering about all of the Jesus actors making a crossover.
They finally have the third one.
Well, they have their third. There's Jim Caviezel, Jonathan Rumi, and now this guy?
Jeff Dickamore. That's his actual name.
That's his name. Okay, great. So the film has a heavy metal soundtrack.
Yeah.
So fitting. Why? I mean, of course, right?
Well, have you ever heard those, like, when they make, like, medieval versions of modern songs?
Yeah.
Maybe they should do that.
I like listening to those.
I know. But so there's an actor in it named Daz Crawford, who I do know. The rest of them I don't. But come on. What are you like? So the other day we were joking around because I said that I thought that it was stupid to put audio commentary on the idea of biblical teachings. It just feels so big that the idea of an actor being like, and then I had a donut before I shot this scene. It just was funny to me.
Yeah.
Because if anybody's ever heard the stories about Jim Caviezel, dude got mogged by Mother Nature during the making of Passion of the Christ. Electrocuted struck by lightning twice, I think. But I'm picturing an actor being like, and then they put the fake nails in my wrists, and it feels so surface level to me. But
doesn't treat it with the seriousness you feel it deserves.
This is the duality of man, because then I see this and I'm like, yeah, let's go.
He said, I fell in love with the premise right away, asking the question so many of us have asked, what was Jesus' life like in the years leading up to his ministry? We spent a lot of time imagining him during those early adult years. It became clear that we should depict Jesus as a caring, good-humored, likable, and wise older brother. Add in the action, soundtrack, and the inspired vision, and you have a film unlike anything I've ever had the joy of working on before. Maybe we should review this when it comes out.
I'm so down.
So there's a trailer out. I mean, do you want to, like, show the trailer?
I don't know if we'll get copy. Okay, so is there like a 7th century BC version of Dana White that's supposed to like...
I don't understand if it's supposed to be set in the modern day where Jesus just happens to be there, or if this is an ancient...
No, it's... we'll watch the trailer. What the hell? I think we're already getting copyrighted for the song earlier, so let's go ahead and watch it. Guys, let us know what you think. Hold, please.
Name?
Warren.
Where are you from?
Cana.
You don't look like you're from Cana.
I don't know what that means.
You have to weaken them all and you win the fight. You cannot fight only with your fists. You must use this organ too.
But wouldn't he be a gladiator?
That's what I thought. I mean, like, so the idea is, I guess, that they wanted to find like a hook that modernizes it a little bit.
We have a 20 from Dr. Larsena. My biggest pet peeve is the word utilize. What does the pseudo mil-spec piece of tacto trash verbiage get you that the word use doesn't?
Oh, it's like when I say that you should use the word normality rather than normalcy. We need to bring back normality. People don't use it enough. They would say that my pet peeve is the word nourish.
Yeah.
That's what they would say.
Yeah.
And yummy food when it's in the context of a crunchy telling you that all your life choices are horrible.
Yeah, that's a pet peeve.
I was about to swear. I'm not going to swear. All right, let's finish this trailer, guys.
Fighter, just don't lose focus.
Use whatever time you have to train and
That's
heal.
so that's Daz Crawford. He's a pretty prolific actor.
No distractions.
What do you do for work?
I'm an apprentice.
Oh, for who?
Donald Trump.
Follow me.
You think it's true what people say about him?
I think they went to Jonathan Rumi first.
Maybe.
Does Carpenter paying you? He takes care of what I need.
There are many good life lessons to be learned from sport. If this is your gift, can you cultivate it to positively affect those around you? To let your light shine?
Jerusalem Invitational, 400 denarii.
None of this is ours if you don't keep
That
fighting
feels
for that money.
gladiator-esque.
I will jump in the fight.
You really enjoy it?
It's not just the fight. It's training, walking out of each fight knowing that I defeated whatever they put in front of me.
I love how they're all American except Jesus.
You are aware of his miracles?
Oh, I guess they're
He's a
not.
carpenter, son of a carpenter.
No. Look further.
So why help me? I'm nobody.
You're somebody to me.
Okay. We've had moments on this show, I'm sure of it, where we have talked about the perception of Christian films, faith-based films being corny and they can't really resonate with a larger audience.
Yeah.
This I see possibly reaching people.
Yeah. They focused on...
It's a cool idea.
They focused on Jesus just enough. They also showed the fighting and stuff. I don't know if parkour existed back in...
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's all fictional anyway.
I'm kind of here for it.
I mean, it's also cool that they're kind of making this a masculine story because usually
he's a dude.
People love to portray Jesus as this like soft, feel good hippie guy. And that clearly hasn't worked. It's not even accurate to who he is. But this is I mean, it's definitely a cool concept. I might watch it.
I laughed because this guy isn't wrong when he's making fun. He's like, I can't believe this is real.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem real, but it is. And it seems like a lot of fun. It comes out November 1st. So we're coming up to it. Maybe we'll look and see if there's a showtime around here.
We'll check it out.
We'll have to go and check it out. So we'll wait and see. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about ageism in Hollywood.
Yeah. You heard me complaining last week about Disney trying to ruin Prince Charming. They're currently developing this movie at Disney, and they're in talks with Chris Hemsworth about playing Prince Charming in the movie. Now, immediately people were saying Chris Hemsworth is just too old for this role. It doesn't make sense. But a lot of people were saying that's actually ageism. And now male actors in Hollywood, not just the actresses, are being targeted with ageism. But he's 41.
So this is like an Uno reverse card they're playing.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Chris Hemsworth is 41. I don't think it makes any sense for Prince Charming to even be above the age of 30 in this movie.
We're coming up to a time period where eventually they're just going to hire the actors they want and de-age them.
Right, but that just looks creepy, and also...
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Give the opportunity to a younger actor if there is an option,
they're
right?
They're going to cast Chris Hemsworth and Margot Robbie and then just de-age both of them?
Yeah, like, I guess no one's ever going to get a job again, if that's the precedent that we're setting.
Yeah.
But one person said, nothing against Chris Hemsworth, but you know Disney would never cast a 41-year-old woman to play a Disney princess, which is true.
Gal Gadot is about to be the youngest. I mean, how old is the evil stepmother? She's 30.
She's not playing a Disney princess.
No, I'm just saying, I'm just thinking corollary here. They brought Brandy back for The Descendants, I think, and Brandy's in her 40s or late 30s or something like that.
It
doesn't really count.
It doesn't work either way you put it. It doesn't matter if it's the prince or if it's the princess. All of the tales are based on girls in their teens, and then maybe you can get away with casting women in their 20s, but cast guys in their 20s too.
Yep.
That's the only thing that makes sense. Richard Madden played Prince Charming in the live-action Cinderella with Lily James, which I really liked, in 2015 before everything went bizarro world. And he was, I think, 27 when they were filming it. Still a little on the older side, but 41, really?
Yeah.
Like, is this how desperate Hollywood has gotten because there are no young actors with the look?
Well, I mean, I don't know if they're looking for star power here.
Star power, but he also needs to be traditionally handsome. And unfortunately, that's just not fashionable right now.
Remember, people were very, very hesitant to buy Ryan Gosling as Ken because he was too old for the role, but he ended up being the part of that movie that people liked the most.
But it's because Ryan Gosling is Ryan Gosling, and if it had been anyone else, it would have been a problem.
Yeah.
He was too old for that role. That's true. But he pulled it off,
But that proves
which is
that it
impressive.
doesn't matter, right? So I guess what you're saying is, like, it can be done, but you're working against yourself to do that. You're just making it harder than it has to be.
Yeah, and I still don't even know what the concept for this movie is. My concept of putting Prince Charming into the modern day dating world is way better than whatever Disney is going to come up with.
Imagine Prince Charming trying to use Tinder.
I want to see it. Brittany Martinez also had a take on this. She said, I know girls like Chris Hemsworth, and usually older plays younger in Hollywood, but if Prince Charming is supposed to be around 21, Chris is way too old. They should go for 18 to 23 for Cinderella, and Prince Charming maybe 25 or 26 max. Chris is more fit to play a king role. And she posted Cole Sprouse in the replies as a possibility, which did come to mind for me as well.
It is actually true that older plays younger, so On the recommendation of crisis actors, I started watching Roswell.
Yeah.
Last night.
We were talking about this yesterday.
A lot of fun. I'm enjoying it so far. But one of the things that I find really funny is in like the second episode, they introduce Julie Benz as Mrs. Toplowski. She's like the guidance counselor. And she is exactly 1 year younger than the guy who plays Max, the teenage boy.
Yeah, that's just the norm.
And the funny thing is both her and William Sadler, who's literally been in everything. He plays the sheriff, Sheriff Valenti in that show, pretty much looks the same now. And so does she. And I just thought it was funny. I'm like, I was watching it and I'm like, wow, Julie Benz all the way back in 1999. And then I'm like, oh yeah, she was in Angel and Buffy like before that even. So,
but nothing has really changed because you're expected to buy that Jacob Elordi in Euphoria is 17 years old.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, a lot of. Do you think that has some type of weird effect on the population? Because it never struck to me that they were older. Like when I was in high school. So Not Another Teen Movie came out when I was. If it came out in 2001, which I think was the year it came out, means that I would have been in starting high school at around that time because I graduated in 2005. Like I didn't really think about it. Chris Evans is older than me, but and he looked older than I did at that time, but it didn't really strike me as like they looked that much older than everyone. But maybe it's just that people back then weren't looking at themselves as much because of phones.
I mean, I definitely watched shows about high schoolers and thought, yeah, this does not look like anyone I know.
Now when I go back and look at it, everyone looks way too old.
But I definitely noticed it. The only exception to that being Disney shows where they actually cast children.
Which
comes with a whole slew of other ethical concerns.
Exactly. Well, that's the whole point, right? And then when we were watching the OC, and I'm like, just grouchy Benjamin McKenzie is there, and I'm like, he looks like he's 25. Like, he looks like a skinny 25, but he looks like he's 25 playing a moody teenager.
Pointing out is that all of the Gen Z and younger millennial actors now, and actresses, don't have a traditionally handsome or traditionally beautiful look.
Yeah.
You're expected to find someone unique looking now. So every Gen Z male actor looks like Finn Wolfhard, and it's just, that's not Prince Charming.
It's funny because that was one that always worked better for like a certain type of like hollow. Like Rami Malek has that face. So does the Skarsgårds. They have unique facial structures that don't necessarily scream traditional Hollywood A-list actor. But now it does feel like all of them look that way. But then you go back and you look at shows from old, and even so in this show, I forget the name of her best friend, who would totally be gay if they were making the show. Now, maybe she is in the show down the line, but she's got the short haircut and everything like that. And even back then, the traditional, the characters that weren't necessarily supposed to look traditionally beautiful or handsome still did. They still had that look. They just were shown to look a certain way on screen.
They were just styled
makeup.
a certain way to make them look plain.
They're like, make her look like it's that's the whole thing from Not Another Teen Movie. It's Janie they just take the ponytail out and take the glasses off.
Now they just legitimately hire ugly actors at this point.
I also saw, guys, they're making a Cruel Intentions TV show on Amazon Prime. I refuse to watch the trailer. I refuse to have anything to do with it. The 1999 Cruel Intentions with Sarah Michelle Gellar and Ryan Phillippe and Reese Witherspoon is a masterpiece, and everyone should go watch it if you like the idea of, Hollywood degeneracy before the modern day version of Hollywood degeneracy. I love that film, and I don't want to see a television version of it. I really don't.
I know it's been said, but they really are running out of ideas. Like, it's getting desperate. It's getting embarrassing.
I wonder if they're going to do in that movie, Sarah Michelle Gellar's character has like she carries around a cross that has like a cocaine a spoon in it. And I'm just like, I'm not going to lie. At one point I went on Amazon and I'm like, does that really exist?
Just for, keepsake.
I'm just curious.
Also relevant to the subject of aging in Hollywood and ageism is Liam Neeson's retirement from action movies.
Yep.
He feels it's inappropriate at the age of 72 to star in action films anymore. And he said it has to stop at some stage. He's accepted his fate.
The problem here... Oh, go. We
have a 20 from Dr. Larsena. You know, there was an ancient MMA sport that was hugely popular in Jesus' day called... what is this? Pancration?
Yep.
It was an ancient Olympic event. Question is whether a good Jewish boy would be involved in something so Greek/Gentile.
Maybe they should have had you for consulting on the movie.
Me?
No, Dr. Larsena.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is, but I guess that means it's historically accurate.
And here's the thing, guys. Back to Liam Neeson now. There's an honest trailer from the third Taken, like the Taken Taken 3, where there's 12 camera cuts just to show Liam Neeson hopping over a fence that's like this high.
Like, so he was already getting up there.
He was already old when these movies started getting made. They make the joke in those honest trailers, like, these are the movies that finally paid for Liam Neeson's kids' college fund. Like, he was old when these got made, and they were great and they were fantastic.
And Harrison Ford, though, in Dial of Destiny was just laughable. Like, what are you doing, man? Harrison Ford's
Dial
face
of Destiny was bad.
With de-aging technology was disturbing as well. But Liam Neeson has also given up on love. But no,
before we do that, I just think if they want to make one final Taken movie where somebody gets abducted from a nursing home and he has to bring them back to the nursing home and he just decides to stay, perfect.
That's the perfect ending.
That's the perfect ending.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Liam Neeson also said that at 72 he's given up on dating. He said, in a word, I'm past all that.
That's just sad.
Because you said that his wife died.
Yeah, it looks like she died in 2009.
It's sweet, though.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Al Pacino just had a kid, and he's like a gazillion years old, too, so don't give up.
I mean, don't have a kid, but you could think about...
I'm not saying have a kid. I'm saying don't give up.
Yeah, don't give up on love. Who is it that has just got together? Meryl Streep and
Martin Short.
Martin Short are together now, and they're going on cute little dates.
Yeah,
you love to see it. Don't give up on love.
See, how is it that those stories can exist, but they can't make good romantic comedies?
Seriously,
come on.
I guess have them star in it.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Like, now they're like, fine, you can have the romantic comedies. No hot young people.
Yeah,
old people.
Kind of the rule now.
You know what it is, Mary? It's romantic comedies for the modern audiences.
Well, what was that one starring, I think it was Julia Roberts? There was a semi-recent rom-com about divorcees who get back together because they're trying to help their daughter.
Yeah.
Which is very modern.
Yeah.
It's sweet idea, but very modern.
Well, I mean, that's like, there was a time though when like the idea of the romantic comedy, a lot of it becomes about blended families and stuff like that as America changed, as demographics
The Parent
changed. Trap. Yeah, like as the country changed, as social belief systems changed, the movies had to kind of grow and adapt with it. So that's what it is now.
So for now, the best you've got is Anyone But You.
Pretty much. That's about it. All right, Brainrot. Oh, we'll start with Brainrot.
I'm hoping this is the Lunchly Brainrot.
It is.
I actually don't disappoint me.
I have a whole folder now of Lunchly Brainrot, which is insane considering right now what's going on is the FDA is involved and they're like looking into Lunchly.
Mr. Beast is like going to go to jail for this.
I mean, I don't know if that's what's going to bring down Mr. Beast, but here we go, guys.
Okay.
It says Brainrot dinner gone wrong. I'm telling you, buckle up.
Here's your Feastables and Lunchly. Oh boy, eat! I like my cheese drippy, bro.
They gotta let's talk to her.
Thank you, guys.
Eating the cats, eat the cat, eat the cat. Eating the dogs, eating the cats, eat the cat.
Okay, here we go. Oh, there's a 20 there.
Jose Quintana said, "Happy Friday. I'll be seeing Venom in a few hours. We'll give a mini review next Monday. Have a great weekend. Ghost Empress and Optical Overlord. Long live PCC.
Thank you.
Have fun at the movie. Let us know what you think.
All right, here we go.
No, I told you, no talk to her at the dinner table.
As you said, Fred.
I learned a song. From the screen to the ring to the pin to the king. Where's my crown? That's my wing. Enough, you ugly boys. Stop singing KSI. Edward, why are you wearing a black hoodie? I'm on my winter arc. I can feel my flow and rain. Mommy, someone stole my Feastables. It was Latoto. It wasn't me. My kids are so weird. I'm adopting all of you. Wait a minute. I love you, Mr. Beast. You're my favorite, my beautiful king. Talk to, I talk to, I talk to, I talk to, I talk to.
I'm thinking about the fact that they had to do that all in one take.
Yep.
Nothing has changed. This was literally, Fred came up on the channel recently as Andy Signor was on, and that was Fred's channel, and now it's just come back in a different form.
Here's another one.
To the king. Oh, I got lunch and all my favorite t-shirt.
We're so done. We're so cooked.
Everything is Lunchly Feastables, KSI, Talk Tua, and Prime Energy drinks.
The Brainrot truly is doing a number on me.
If you feel bad for Mary or me, feel worse for Olivia, who has to be there while I'm curating all of this stuff without headphones on.
Yeah. God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Let's watch Cringe.
All right. We'll do Cringe. We'll get it out of the way here.
This is another Tyra Banks Cringe.
Okay, let's see these three guys. Which one do you like?
I guess number one.
Number one.
Sure.
Okay. He's hot. His name is Robert Chambers, and he's known as the Preppy Killer. He strangled a woman to death in Central Park in 1986. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
The woman's reaction.
And the other two are murderers as well.
She's just like, okay. Holy shit. I have no idea what the context is, but...
I mean, it doesn't matter, really. Like, that was an amazing time to be alive, apparently, where Tyra Banks traps you into admitting you're attracted to serial killers.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's go ahead and let's do the cute of the day. Let's go here. Right.
Tyra Banks remains the GOAT. True.
First one here from Zach says, Sphinx cats, Vader, and Anakin.
Whoa.
Ah!
I am not a fan of hairless cats, but...
They look, this one looks a bit like it's going to attack you. This one looks docile.
I'm scared of hairless cats, to be honest. So I'm going to give this one a not cute. I'm going to give this one a doom.
I will give it a boom just cuz.
Okay, just even it out.
Just to even it out. Boom.
No offense to you, though.
All right, this one is from Ali Million. Says, hey, Pop Culture, I watched today. Brett, this is Donnie here. Make sure you put me on cute of the day. My handler puts on the show every day before she leaves to pick up the kids.
Aw.
Very cute.
Cute.
Very cute.
Fluffy.
All right, let's go ahead and get started then.
Yeah, obviously, if you watch this show, you know that Hollywood enjoys ruining characters and stories that we love and that are special to us. And the next one that they have set their sights on is American Psycho, the satirical horror film from 2000 based on Patrick Bateman. And since this was announced, first off, it's being directed by Luca Guadagnino, and he is extremely pretentious and annoying. He directed Challengers, if you're unfamiliar. He is dead set on convincing you this is not actually a reboot. It's not a remake. It has nothing to do with the 2000 movie. And that's because it's based on the novel. It's a new take on the novel that the original was based on.
I mean, it just proves that everything was always adapted anyways.
Okay, sure,
Yeah.
but it's like you're splitting hairs to make us realize that this is an original idea when it's not. And now the discourse has been sparked. People are fan casting who should be the next Patrick Bateman. Yeah. No one will ever do it the way that Christian Bale did it, obviously. You should stop trying.
You only get so many Christian Bales in a lifetime anyways, as performers.
Yeah, exactly. And Variety decided to put out a list of their frontrunners for who should play the serial killer in this movie. And half of them are white men, surprisingly. The other half are women and men of color because they want this to be the diverse Patrick Bateman.
According to Twitter, you have all of the people on Twitter said this is the one movie where you have to cast a white male lead because the movie itself, according to Twitter, is a critique of white male capitalism. I'm not kidding.
We'll get into that later, but it's just funny to me that they're thinking of gender swapping Patrick Bateman of all people when they already did that and it failed. There was already a direct-to-video sequel for American Psycho that is also known as All American Girl, starring Mila Kunis, and it's based on an imitator of Patrick Bateman. She plays basically this woman who becomes obsessed with him and tries to imitate him. It was very negatively received by both critics and fans. It was obviously a failure. I don't know why you would try it again over 20 years later and expect a different result, but this is what Hollywood does.
Well, remember they used to make direct to DVD and direct to VHS Disney sequels. Now they're just releasing them in theaters, like Mufasa's coming out this year.
It's the definition of insanity. But here on the list, Glenn Powell was not on the list for some reason. I think he's too jolly. He's too, you know what I mean? He's too...
I think he could do it.
He has too much light in his eyes.
Watch Hitman.
But they have Jacob Elordi here, Charles Melton from Riverdale, Aubrey Plaza. They said it should come as no surprise that Hollywood's reigning Princess of Darkness would appear on this list. It would be thrilling to see Plaza's typically comedic intensity interpreted for the status-obsessed yuppie serial killer Patrick Bateman. The less explained, the better. Just give her the chainsaw.
The other part that's annoying about this is when movies like this are made and they're a critique of a time prior to when it comes out, meaning like the 80s being shown in the 2000s, in the early 2000s, that's not the same thing as showing the 80s in the 2020s. Yeah. Your view on the world, your views on business, on capitalism, as they, they're calling it a critique of capitalism. The world feels very differently about those concepts now.
And race and gender.
All
those things are going to bog down the film.
Exactly.
They also listed Margaret Qualley as another option for a gender-swapped girl boss Patrick Bateman. What if Patrick Bateman was a girl boss?
No, thank you.
That is a question I don't want the answer to. Let's not do that. But they say, given that she was in The Substance recently, playing a character with a fixation on looking perfect, she would be able to expertly apply the face mask, looking at the mirror with her intense eyes.
All these dudes are going to have to get in better shape. Jacob, I don't know about Jacob Elordi, but the rest of them are not. They're not the size of a Christian Bale when he at that time.
They listed Dev Patel as well as a possible race-swapped Patrick Bateman. And
do you think that that's? Do you think that that race swap is less offensive to this than the idea of a gender swap? I understand that nobody wants either of those.
Both.
No, you know what I'm saying, though, right?
I'm against both in principle.
Yeah.
Both in principle. No race swaps, no gender swaps. Never.
Which one, or let me rephrase. If there was one that they could somehow manage to pull off to the rest of the general public, not us specifically, that the general public would take to more freely, which one would it be?
Wait, you mean a gender swap or a race swap? Yeah. Oh, probably a race swap. Yeah, that's obviously the safer bet. But I'm against it in principle because Hollywood obviously hates white people. And they hate white men most especially. So
plenty of people that don't exactly like white men were talking about this on Twitter, talking about how they can't race swap him because this is the one role that you can't do it for when they're the bad guy.
Here's what they were saying. Dev Patel is great, but no. Bateman's entire shtick is that he's a hyper-elite white guy. Racism and bigotry are a huge part of the character. This is the one role where the actor should exclusively be white. Another one said, Feels like people forget that Patrick Bateman represents a certain kind of evil, deluded dude, and whiteness is a key ingredient to creating that. I love Dev Patel, but come on. Another one said, can we not just switch Jacob Elordi and Dev Patel as Patrick Bateman? Patrick Bateman's whole shtick is getting away with shit for being white, and this is I can't. Yeah. That's not what the movie was about. They think that American Psycho was about white privilege.
Yes, that's what they think. What they don't understand is that the wealthy life that the character lived is so far removed from what the average person lives anyways that the race is less of an issue anyways.
Like, this is, I know there's a lot of people on the internet using the term media literacy.
They love
now.
that. I want to do a whole video
term.
on media literacy.
But the people who talk about media literacy the most seem to have the least media literacy. Because they think when they watch a movie from 25 years ago that it's about the racial discourse that dominates conversations in 2024.
Especially
they cannot escape their their tunnel vision social justice lens watching things from prior eras.
They love it.
If you think that if you think American Psycho was about white privilege, you're dumb. Like, that's just not, and I'm not going to say I'm like a film critic where I'm like an expert on these things, but my best guess as to what American Psycho was actually about is it was a commentary on the solipsism of Patrick Bateman's character.
And the life of the rich people who are disconnected from the world.
But I don't even think it was necessarily about like capitalism or wealth or a lot of things like that. It was, you watched his interpersonal relationships with his colleagues and his fiance, and you can see that he is wrapped up in his own little world and his own internal monologue, and it's satirizing how solipsistic and self-centered he is.
Which is interesting because now you could make that argument of even more people in the social media age.
Yeah. Another person on Twitter said the American Psycho remake should have all the characters come out at the end, face the camera, and explain that you shouldn't romanticize any of what just happened.
That's another term.
I know
that
they're
gets thrown
joking,
around.
But they really think that.
Yeah.
They really think that you need to be handheld through any movie that is more complex than like VeggieTales.
Well, lest you like something in a movie that they tell you not to like liking Homelander for a period of time in The Boys, and then they're like, no, but not like that.
You like it for the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
Another person said, I think you guys think that American Psycho is just about a hot guy who kills people. Well, okay, if someone watches American Psycho and they think it's just a movie about a hot guy who kills people, is that the end of the world? Like, it is about that as well as all these other things.
Just remember, guys, that the term media literacy is now used as like a weapon, where when something succeeds for the reasons they don't want it to succeed, they say or if something doesn't succeed that they want to succeed, they say you're too dumb to understand this movie. It's not that the movie was bad, it's that you were too dumb.
It's not even just that.
Joker wasn't bad. Joker was just above your level of intellect.
That pisses me off, but what's even worse is when they say you're pretending not to understand it, or you're pretending not to like it. Like, how would you even know that?
Who does that?
I'm sure some people out there might pretend to have certain opinions about movies, but
I said, but why?
I don't know why, but that's a bizarre accusation to make. It's just, I know this is going to be a disaster.
Going on Look Alone, Finn Wittrock has a face that I think could work.
Sure. I haven't seen him in anything.
Neither have I.
They say he was in American Horror Story.
He's got a face that I think could work for this.
Okay.
The rest, like, just no.
I've never seen him.
Just no.
He
Definitely
was
just no.
a breakout star in Luca Guadagnino's Queer.
Well, that guy, the Finn Wittrock guy?
No, the Drew Starkey guy that you just
Will
made fun
Poulter
of.
is a
Manny
great
Jacinto.
Yes.
Obviously, peak masculinity in Hollywood. Manny Jacinto is the heartthrob of all Acolyte fans.
I wouldn't do Will Poulter. I guess Charles Melton has, hardened facial features. But I wouldn't.
They're just coming after every Literally Me movie. Yeah. I wish Kino Corner were here to
where
explain
is he?
that. But they're coming after every movie that white dudes liked, and they're just going to destroy it all. They get pleasure out of it. It's sick.
All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Friday, Brett and Mary. Love the thumbnail faces. Mary is always very animated, while Brett just looks more and more Brett-like. Let's go."
Well, I can't be anything else, guys.
You're coming into your own.
I don't know how to be anything else.
But you're embarrassed of making like weird expressions on camera, so I'm gonna do it.
No, I just won't soy face.
Sure.
I won't soy face. I refuse to be that guy.
I don't think I will either. We have to draw a line somewhere.
I'll have to get a Nintendo Switch if I'm going to do that.
High Voltage 75 said, "Don't go too long today. I got an 8:30 res at Dorsia." Haha. Corey Anderson said, "My kid stole my PCC hoodie and has been wearing it to school. I asked if he knew what it was. He said he just thinks it's cool. I'll be buying a new one."
Let's go.
That's awesome.
Wait, which one was it? Was it the all black one or one of the other ones? Either way, awesome.
Thank you for buying another one for yourself.
PCC, the next generation.
We're spreading the show to the younger generation. Maybe we're going to get an influx of Gen Alpha subscribers.
Yeah, if we keep playing that Brainrot, we might.
Yeah. Andrew Jacobs said, "Happy Friday, PCC. Mary, when you're president, I'm perfectly okay with you banning all instances of Sydney Sweeney's cleavage. Hi, Brett. # put a toast on." Are we going to put a toast on?
Was there did you decide to ban cleavage?
I don't think I ever made any.
I don't think you ever said anything
comments
to that
about banning cleavage. I think we're going to ban Euphoria specifically. Okay. But Sydney Sweeney is fine. We're not going to come after her.
Do one more.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Based kid, Corey. Now you need to show them PCC." I'm surprised he hasn't already. He's in the chat every day.
All right, let's come back.
All right. So the ex-CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch got arrested earlier this week on sex trafficking charges, which are being called Diddy-esque offenses. He was let out on bond, as well as his boyfriend, who was involved in the indictment, and their criminal partner. Here it says Michael Jeffries, Matthew Smith, and James Jacobson were all allegedly luring in men to participate in sex events. And that sounds a lot like a freak-off to me. But let's look into more of the details. This is a 16-count indictment in which Jeffries, his partner Matthew Smith, and James Jacobson, who allegedly interviewed and recruited men to perform sex acts for the couple, they're all being charged with 1 count of sex trafficking and 15 counts of interstate prostitution related to 15 unnamed victims. Jeffries served as CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch from 1992 to 2014. Something that should be noted is just a few years before Michael Jeffries became the CEO of the brand, the brand was bought by Les Wexner, close personal friend of Jeffrey Epstein and the Victoria's Secret executive.
I was going to say, pretty much all of these fashion brands from that time period have had just a major fall from grace.
Yeah.
Think of American Apparel. Even
there were all of
later.
these documentaries made about the downfall of Abercrombie & Fitch and the allegations that they were facing for years now, but it seems it's finally come to a head. Basically, here are the key points. It says Michael Jeffries and his partner spent millions of dollars building an infrastructure to support their international organization that included security staff to operate it. Victims and witnesses were required to sign NDAs to prevent them from disclosing about the events and to keep them from seeking help. On occasions when witnesses threatened to expose or sue them, a security company was used to surveil and intimidate those individuals. The indictment says Michael Jeffries and his partner hosted sex events where men were pressured to consume alcohol and drugs. Prosecutors say that Jacobson recruited and interviewed men for these events by holding tryouts in which he would have sex with the men before they were invited. He also paid men who successfully referred others to these events. The victims, including one as young as 19, say they engaged in sex acts under the guise of receiving a modeling opportunity with Abercrombie & Fitch. Prosecutors said victims also believed that declining an invite to the parties could harm their careers.
So these are adults.
Yeah. So here's the complicated part. A sexual quid pro quo is not the same thing as just black and white sexual assault. That's not the same thing.
Yep.
And of course, I find it sickening when you look into the details. These are incredibly depraved people.
Yep. Preying on the aspirations of young men, but they are men. They're adults.
It says, according to prosecutors, the parties involved large sex toys, high-pressure enemas, and shaving of men's genitals. Attendees were pushed to drink booze, take Viagra, and also muscle relaxants called poppers. If you know, you know, and if you know, I'm sorry that you know. They also claim that they would intentionally recruit heterosexual men, so they would force them to engage in certain sex acts, even if they were unwilling.
Again, force how? Are we talking physical force, or are we saying do this and get a modeling job, or don't do this and don't get a modeling job? That's not forced. I'm sorry, that's not what that is.
Yeah, it's complicated. We don't know all the details, but it doesn't sound like a black and white issue. Obviously, they're sick in the head, but does this qualify as criminal? Or is this just what everyone has known about the modeling industry and the entertainment industry in general for many years now, which is that it's a thinly veiled, sex ring?
Is the idea here, because where is the trafficking element to this? Were they moving them from country to country? Because obviously it talks about the charities or the other organizations that were all taking place in other countries. So is the idea that they're being moved over country line, borders and stuff like that?
Yeah, they say that business funds were used to cover travel expenses for the victims and witnesses.
So if they were being drugged is not the same thing as willingly
being
taking
pushed
drugged.
to drink or pushed to take drugs, right? That's a different thing.
And let's face it, the men aren't going to get the same level of outrage that the women are.
Definitely, yeah.
This is just the way that it's going to be. The public isn't going to look at this with the anger that it looked at Harvey Weinstein or Jeffrey Epstein or anything like that.
But they run in the same circles, yes. So you can only imagine what we don't know about these people. But the prosecutors say that they were running a business dedicated to fulfilling their sexual desires and ensuring that their international sex trafficking and prostitution business was kept secret. It is curious why they would be so adamant about keeping it under wraps with NDAs and security guards who would intimidate and follow people to silence them if nothing criminal was going on.
I mean, if for no other reason than, I guess, bad press and, bad publicity can do bad things to your business.
But as you said earlier, you had a girlfriend who told you it was common business practice at Abercrombie and Hollister for even the lowest level retail employees that there was a sexual aspect to it.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And that was part of the brand image. And it was very successful for them. That tactic turned out to be a huge success, where Abercrombie was seen as this really adult brand for teenagers.
Yeah.
They were selling a fantasy, and they had shirtless male models standing outside of the store, and the lighting was dim inside, like you were in a nightclub, and the music was blaring through the speakers, and they were spraying Abercrombie cologne through the vents. So you were like in this whole different world, and that was appealing. That they made billions and billions of dollars.
Come out of there hungover from
with
all the
this business model,
from all the perfume and cologne you were smelling.
And if it were just that, I don't know. I don't really have a problem with it. But now that we know what was going on behind the scenes, obviously it was far more depraved than people were aware at the time.
Yeah.
I just don't know what to make of it based on what the prosecutors are saying. They're obviously, as the prosecution, they are framing this in the least flattering light possible, and yet nothing I've read so far says these adult heterosexual men were forced to do anything. It does not sound like that.
Coercion is different than physical force.
And it sounds like selling your soul for a modeling job, for a role in a movie, for any type of professional opportunity. It's a common practice in these industries, and the shame of doing that, I'm sure, is all-consuming, but it doesn't mean you're a victim.
Yeah. The thing that always sticks out to me when these cases come up is like everything that was like a pillar of Americana in the 90s and 2000s slowly falls. And
You wish you could just remain in blissful
and is
ignorance.
exposed as something evil. And it
Mhm.
happens all the time, whether it's Victoria's Secret, whether it's American Apparel, whether it's any of these brands, not just those, but pretty much anything, you know, everything you loved in the 90s, in the early 2000s, the people that made it turn out to be just the worst people.
Right. American Apparel had its own huge controversy
I've
over
pointed
Dove
out-
Charney's behavior with models.
Pointed out all the time that, look, to get to that success level of business, you have to be pretty ruthless. So it's not hard to believe that absolute psychopaths slip through.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a difference, obviously, between a shrewd businessman, a ruthless businessman, and somebody who takes pleasure in trying to make heterosexual males perform homosexual acts because it gives them a power trip.
Because they view it as humiliating, really. That's why they're doing it. It's just odd to me that Michael Jeffries is getting compared to people like Diddy, who is literally being accused of molesting children as young as 9 years old.
Yeah.
And he's being compared to someone like Epstein, who is accused of similar things, when he's far more similar to Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
Who, again, like, I'm not gonna sit here and defend Harvey Weinstein. Like, that's not what I'm trying to say. But in a lot of the accusations made against Harvey Weinstein, you can clearly tell from the stories of the victims that they were engaging in a sexual quid pro quo for a professional opportunity, and they regretted it later on.
Didn't Harvey Weinstein just get cancer? Like,
he did. He was
leukemia?
diagnosed with bone marrow cancer. That report came out earlier this
Many
week.
would say karma comes back to get you, and it comes back hard.
He's in really poor health. He has been for a while. He's just taking L after L, and we don't feel bad for him. He also had 3 different sex charges consolidated into one indictment for his next trial, which is probably going to happen in April next year.
Yeah.
But his lawyer commented on his health, saying, "I know everybody is very curious about Mr. Weinstein's health. We're not going to get into any specifics except to say Mr. Weinstein is a fighter, and he's here to fight this case. He's going to fight with every ounce of his strength in his body," which is presumably not much.
Yeah.
We have a 20 from OJ for me. Orange juice is the best juice. Okay.
So much so that it's your username.
I'm glad that you're passionate about orange juice. We have another 20 from Ale Millen. I used to work there. There was a lawsuit against Abercrombie & Fitch back in 2004 against all the stores due to how the employees were treated based on looks, background, and speech. I got stories. I worked there 2002 through 2004. Well, if you have stories, like, tell us. I want to know what was going on.
Spill tea.
Because I was young. I was too young to shop at Abercrombie & Fitch when it was at its peak.
Yeah.
I just thought it was that scary store in the mall that I wasn't allowed to go into.
Ah, yes, there you go.
And it kind of smelled weird when I walked past it. But
telling you, come out of there with a headache.
At least we still have Brandy Melville. The worst thing, as far as I know, that the CEO of Brandy Melville has done is share Hitler memes in an offensive group chat with other executives.
And make the door too small for fat people.
Right, yeah. So I'm going to stay with Brandy Melville. All right, let's read some super chats. Shane H. Wilder said, "I figured Brett as a Cheddar's or Outback man."
I don't even know what Cheddar's is.
I've never even heard of that. What is
hell
that?
is that? I'm completely fine with going to Outback Steakhouse.
Do you like Outback?
I'm fine with it. Yeah. That's good.
They were talking about it on IRL this week because they use beef tallow instead of seed oil.
Good. Not that I care.
Thank you.
I did go to Texas Roadhouse finally. I saw Texas Roadhouse get mentioned. I went to my first Texas Roadhouse like this year. It was great. It's fine.
But it wasn't in Texas.
It was not in Texas. I was not in Texas when I went there. Do they have Texas Roadhouses in Texas?
I hope they do.
You'd hope.
Red Snow said BBQ place effed up my order but was still good.
There you go.
I'm sorry that happened to you. Stefan Buttle said I started watching Person of Interest. Thanks, PCC. Well, thank Brett.
Well,
you're the one shilling for it.
If anybody's out there, preaching the good word of Person of Interest, it would be me.
Red Snow said also praising Space King, just throwing it out there.
Thank you.
As
Praise
you
be
always
the
do.
Space King.
Shane H. Wilder said Brett does not understand the power of the pickle.
Apparently not.
Yeah, you're not. You should at least try it. It's like just. I mean,
Look,
it seems
there is a huge difference between eating a pickle here and there, and then eating a sandwich.
Seems like it would be good. You might love it.
Gross afterwards.
It would. Your fingers would just be stained.
Yeah.
From the vinegar. Not that John Stewart said I got my PCC zip up hoodie and I love it. Happy Friday.
Awesome.
Thank you for that.
That is awesome.
I'm glad you like it.
Let's do 2 more.
David L said Brett should be your driver, Mary. I don't know if Brett has the time of day to be my chauffeur.
That's yeah. Pay me more and I'll be a driver for someone.
I'll just risk my life.
One
every
of
day.
my favorite jobs, I used to drive for a medical supply company. I would deliver prescriptions and small medical equipment to nursing homes and hospice care facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Now that part of it was depressing, but the job itself, which basically you drive a work car around the state and listen to music.
That sounds really relaxing.
It was very relaxing. I loved that job.
That sounds great. Shane H. Wilder said I nearly failed the written part of my driving test because I got the hard test. What is the fine for driving 15 over? What is the fine for 3 DWIs?
I'm so glad I don't have to answer that question.
I didn't get questions like that, but I was 1 away from failing.
I would do a whole PCC special episode about my process of getting my driver's license back here. Remember
it was painful to watch.
It took forever.
Going through that.
It took forever and was just a bureaucratic nightmare because it involved a bunch of. I basically fell into a weird bureaucratic black hole between the Minnesota DMV and the Maryland DMV, and on paper I didn't exist anywhere.
And you're you know what? Maybe voter ID laws are unfair.
Yeah.
Because I can't seem to get a driver's license.
It was crazy. And then one day she
just hit the big red button.
They called in the final boss of the DMV. She'd been there for 25 years and she just hit the big red button and made it happen.
I think her name was Shirley.
Probably.
I'm going to go with that.
Let's do one more.
Nate said I believe Putin watches cooking channels, makes special tea for it.
I believe that.
He watches Ina Garten.
No, his guilty pleasure is Rachel Ray.
He watches mukbang videos.
Let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back after the fact.
We need to talk about the absolute state of modern women because recently a TikToker shared her experience of sleeping with 100 men within the span of 14 hours. I can't say anything else. We're going to watch the video and then we'll talk about it.
Okay, let's watch the video first. Here we go, guys.
I was just speechless when I watched this.
I went viral for letting 23 guys run a train on me with my friend Bonnie. Now, that video is actually out now, so if you want to check that out, you know where to go. But if you want to be a part of the next one, I'm actually doing 100 guys in one day. So head on over to my Twitter to find out how to apply. Morning, so today is the day where I get run through by 100 guys. How many condoms I have, for fuck's sake. I think this is all I'm going to do with my hair and makeup today. Just a bit of bronzer and a bit of blush. I'm running a little bit late, I think. We'll be totally fine.
As long as you're not late after, am I right?
Start with that. Oh, looking too bad.
Eating a croissant on the way to my orgy. What is this?
How are you doing? How's it
Where are the captions? The audio is horrible.
Ew.
Skipping around.
First group scene done. That was a lot of fun. And now I'm on to number 16. Currently 7 p.m. About, I think about 70 people through. This is what the room is looking like. Not in the best.
I think there was a lunch break.
Maybe.
State. We've kind of got things everywhere. Someone brought me a rose. Oh my god, I forgot to vlog this. Someone brought me a fucking rose. He was the sweetest boy ever. Got ran through by 101 men, and my eyes are still recovering.
Can I ask a question? Why 101?
Just to set the record.
Okay.
Just from all the bodily fluids that went in them. So yesterday I got ran through by 101 guys. Don't mind this, someone actually bit my lip. But last night I didn't end up having a shower. Well, I didn't wash my hair in the shower, just because I was too tired. But I want to show you guys the aftermath of what it's like to get ran through by that many guys in one
Why
day.
would we want to know? I don't know.
I feel like I've been hit by a bus. I am so achy.
I mean, it was a train that hit you, not a bus.
Hours. We went from 9 a.m. till about 11 p.m. I think it was.
Okay.
So obviously she's doing this to promote her OnlyFans. We already know that. It's very clear that that's what she's doing. She's trying to make all of these simps see the video and subscribe to her OnlyFans. But this reminds me of the woman in Australia that we were recently talking about. She set a goal for herself to sleep with over 600 men within 2024. And she, before that, slept with 300 men in 2023. And I said, someone like this needs to have not only an intervention, but this person needs to be locked up in an institution for the rest of their lives. Like, you can't make decisions for yourself. Clearly, you're out of your mind. And you need to be locked up and put in a straitjacket and a chastity belt. I say that again for this woman. That is the only logical course of action.
Mary, but why do you care?
Why do you care so much? Just let people destroy their lives. Why do you care?
This is actually one of the ones where I don't care, and maybe I'm the bad person here because I just don't care what she does with her life. Mary's the better person who actually does care and wants to see this lady get the help Mary thinks that she needs. I'm just like, bro, some people you can't help.
Do you think that she is mentally ill?
Look, I have no idea. Is it just the weight of whatever your home life was, modern feminism, and the ease of making money via internet porn? I don't know.
We have a 20 from Nate. This is why we used to do bonfires, if you know what I'm saying. LOL, Salem style. Okay, we're not endorsing that. Disavow. But I think you can clearly see no person who is well-adjusted and had a good upbringing would ever end up in a situation like this.
Yeah.
Okay? And clearly, if she were making the right decisions for her life, this would not be one of them.
Yeah.
Right? You can at least agree with me on that.
I did see did you see that Karina Kopf retired her OnlyFans after making like $60 million in 3
I didn't
years?
see that she left. Did she say why?
She said link no longer in bio.
She didn't explain it any further.
She made her bag.
We have another 20 from Geek Fan. Brett, I haven't tuned into the show in a couple weeks, so you probably know, but the best Taco Bell item is double-decker tacos are back.
I didn't know. Well, they have the double stacker taco, which I get pretty regularly, but the double decker taco has like beans between the hard shell and the soft shell taco. I'm sure this lady in this video did something similar when she was in her video. Anyways, continue.
One person had a take saying, hot take, but actually the men in this video are the problem.
if one is the problem, then they're both the problem.
Everyone involved in that video was the problem. Literally everyone in that video has serious problems.
Yeah. Like you don't get to pass it off. If you are we can have our opinions on whether something here is wrong or not. Mary has her opinions on whether something here is wrong or not. The people on the other side of this who are saying that there is one group responsible or one person responsible for the bad side of this is wrong. Either all of them or none of them. You can't have it either way.
Mm-hmm. Another take, if someone is engaging in forms of extreme self-harm and you react by signing up to make sure they do it, you need to reevaluate and reflect on the person you've become. The shame is on every man who lined up for this. They deserve the worst.
Wonder if the first dude paid extra. Be done first.
Oh, right. That you pay a premium for that. No, I'm sure they weren't paying. This is her own promotion. Yeah. She gets the promotion for her OnlyFans, and they get to have sex with
first dude's name is like Andy Ames, and he's like, thank God, alphabetical order. Mm-hmm.
It's just so, it's so dark. But it's true. This person is engaging in self-harming behavior. And usually when that happens, you take away someone's right to make decisions for themselves if they're a danger to themselves.
Modern society, unfortunately, Mary, does not consider this self-harming behavior.
No one who is sane would be doing this. Mm-hmm. But she's going to scream from the rooftops that this is empowering. And if you don't take her at face value, you're not being a good feminist.
Yeah.
And I, fortunately, don't care about being a good feminist. Gordon Shumway sent us a 20. When I was in the Army, a bunch of guys in my platoon ran a train on a girl in the barracks over the weekend. A week later, they all had chlamydia. Karma is undefeated. That sounds fake, but...
I wonder if any of the dudes cheated on their STD test.
Another thing that I wanted to bring up is Lily Allen selling feet pics. She claims that she's making more money from selling feet pics than revenue from streaming on Spotify.
Yeah, if you don't know who Lily Allen is, she's a musician.
I didn't even know that this was her side hustle.
Yep.
What's going on?
I thought we talked about it. Or maybe it was one of those things where I never sent it to you because I figured you would send it to me.
She said, imagine being an artist and having nearly 8 million monthly listeners on Spotify, but earning more money from having 1,000 people subscribe to pictures of your feet. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
It's what it's like to be under the boot of capitalism.
I'm going to hate the player and the game every time. That's my motto now.
Yeah.
Does anyone think for a second that they're above anything?
What do you mean?
I mean, it's weird, right? Because women talk so much these days about how they deserve princess treatment. And I expect this and that from men.
But doesn't that run...
They should treat me like a princess, and I deserve to be treated like the prize, and I deserve, to be taken on luxury vacations and this and that. But when I just looked at this video, I thought you deserve better than this because you're a human being and this is below anyone's human dignity.
Okay.
But it's all the superficial stuff where women talk about, I deserve princess treatment.
Well, nobody finds any beauty in the things that you're talking about, into the real world stuff. The superficial stuff is all people care about now.
And there's just, it's so, the vulgarity just constantly gets worse and worse. You sent me, this woman used her own period blood for her Halloween costume.
Yeah, to play Chucky.
She spread her own period blood all over her face to play, as her Chucky costume. And
that's the most feminist thing ever. Period blood art is the height of feminism.
I thought that feminism actually evolved past the whole period blood thing, but I guess we're circling back. She said people found it strange and thought that it could bring bad energy, but I wanted to give the costume a more authentic touch.
I mean, what about just hygienically?
I thought using my own blood would make the look more real and more shocking. I think Halloween is about breaking free from conventions and exploring the darker side of oneself.
Remember when I said that whenever things like this get made, they always have the reasonable sounding explanation or the artistic sounding explanation. When they made the Scream movies, remember there's the scene at the end of the first film when Billy is revealed to be alive and he licks his fingers and he goes, corn syrup. Same stuff. He's like, same stuff they use for pig's blood in Carrie. They didn't have to use period blood to make Billy Loomis look dead in Scream 1. They were able to do it.
If they did, it's just more authentic.
Yeah.
Thoughts
on all of it? It's
because you seem to be so not like shocked by any of it.
None of this shocks me.
You're just like
the only part
jaded.
Yeah, I mean, degeneracy and this type of stuff has existed for a millennia, and it will always exist. What's interesting?
Okay, to say that this is not unprecedented in the modern era.
There was a girl who had sex with like 900 dudes in 24 hours, and that was ages. Like, this is nothing new. Like,
okay, I'm saying
the difference is now is that they're doing this themselves, and it's becoming a form of, I guess, like your own personal business rather than doing so for a company. Like, now you're just an independent contractor working for yourself rather than working for a porn brand. Like, none of this shocks me.
The OnlyFans aspect of it is completely unprecedented. And I do think just in absolute numbers, the amount of promiscuity and degeneracy and vulgarity is at a peak right now.
I think there's more access to it, and it's less critiqued than it's ever been. I would agree on that. I don't think that human behavior has changed that much in this period of time. Just people's access to the technology that allows them to put that out. Like when I saw the period blood one, I'm like, wow, it's like I've been transported back in time to early fourth wave feminism, when this was the type of art that was considered edgy and artistic.
Right.
None of it shocks me. The only one that I found kind of shocking, I guess a little bit, was the Lily Allen one.
When people act out like this, it's a cry for help.
Yeah.
And they're acting out in the same way that a child would act out, because they're looking for a reaction. They want the negative attention. They need negative feedback, and they pretend that they want to be celebrated, but in reality, when people are doing something they know they should be ashamed of, and they do feel shame about it, the way that they portray that online is that they're proud and they're empowered, and it's a lie.
When I see these types of things, I don't even know if they think that requires a level of introspection I don't think actually exists in most of modern society. Like, your ability to think this through and give it a rational output, I don't know if the people engaging in this type of thing are going that far.
Okay, if it were just about doing what they do and enjoying it, they would not broadcast it. They're broadcasting it because they need to overcompensate for a feeling of shame about what they've done.
Financial incentive goes a long way for a lot of them.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the money, like you mentioned earlier, princess treatment equals materialism, money. That is, cash is king in current year. I mean, cash is always king. Cash is king, sex sells. Not always a great recipe for success in society.
All right, let's finish up our super chats. This one, Rhaegar Targaryen, do you think Kim Jong-un likes The Interview? Did you ever watch that one?
I never saw it. But
a lot of people really liked it.
I would like to believe that he did.
Yeah, maybe he did. Maybe he watched it. Red Snow said, fork lawn equipment, most annoying sounds on earth.
Okay.
I don't know what that means. Corey Anderson said, Mary's pet peeve is reading my name when I super chat. Well, I mean, you're just projecting now. Rhaegar Targaryen said, pet peeve, smacking while eating, clicking pens. I think he's throwing shade at you right now, because you always click your pen. Brian Bledsoe.
Worse than the clicking is I do this, and it like creaks.
Yeah, can you not? Can you not do that? That would be nice.
There's a 20.
Gordon Shumway sent us a 20. Not fake. Anyone who's ever been in the army knows degenerate stuff like that is common. 9 guys having to go on sick call because they have discharge does not go unnoticed. It was the 90s.
We still need that shirt that says, it was the 90s.
Yeah, we were workshopping that for a while, but we'll figure it out. Brian Bledsoe said not returning carts to stalls is my pet peeve.
Speaking of throwing shade.
I don't know why, but I just felt like saying that because it pisses people off. And then everyone just believed it.
It went too far.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, guys.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs.
That's like a 2022 callback, now that I think about it. Corey Anderson said, Mary, are you a NOTW girl or WWJD girl?
I don't know what the NOTW stands for.
I don't either. You're gonna have to explain that one.
Wait, how you gonna cheap out and buy the $2 super chat that doesn't let you spell it all out? You have to abbreviate.
Yeah, get your character limit up.
JK.
Nate said, "For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten left hook."
I'm telling you, we have to see if there's a showtime for that movie.
I hope that there will
coming
be.
up. Yeah.
Corey Anderson said, my biggest pet peeve is comparing people to Hitler when their body count is nowhere near Adolf's. Okay. Nate said, first, remove the jab from your own eye. Surenko Productions said, my biggest pet peeve is the misuse of a part / a part.
Oh.
That
okay.
and a lot. A lot is not one word.
I always do it as one word. I mean, not anymore, but when character limits were smaller on Twitter.
You've asked me to spell some words where I'm like, how do you not know this?
Like which
You've been
one?
on this earth for longer than me.
Like which one?
I don't know. You just asked me to give you the spelling of some things that I feel.
Double check.
Pop Culture Junkie said, pet peeve, people who pronounce salmon salmon.
Does anybody actually do that?
I think British people maybe.
Oh.
Red Snow said, my pet peeve is my manager pretending he does stuff while telling me to do stuff. Maybe too personal. Praise be to Space King.
No. There's a Cult of Carpenter double feature at the theater we normally go to, but not the movie we're looking for. It's a John Carpenter double feature.
Oh. Red Snow said, just a stray. Praise be to PCC. Bread and Mary are cool.
Thank you.
Shane H. Wilder said, Prince Charming, he gets sent into modern times, introduced to dating apps, accidentally does Grindr, ends up catfished by a dude, zaniness ensues. I don't know if I want gay panic to be part of the Prince Charming movie. I'm still in the middle of writing it in my head.
You can't do gay panic in Hollywood anymore.
They wouldn't do any
don't
of
do that
it, really. They're too scared. Shane H. Wilder said Neeson ends action films and starts Depends ads. Yeah, we didn't even dunk on Liam Neeson for peeing his pants this time. I feel proud.
Yep.
We were being nice today. But he just wants to... He's 72. He wants to pee his pants without anyone bothering him. Shane H. Wilder said, Brainrot, I want to play in traffic now. Thanks.
Happy to help, but you shouldn't do that. Don't play in traffic.
Worsening everyone's mental health. Red Snow said, watched Alien for the first time last week. Thoughts?
Been so long. I do remember, it's a complete aside, but I saw that they're making the sequels to the 2022 Prey, the Predator reboot, that the guy who made the sequel Predator Badlands, or maybe it's Prey Badlands, and apparently there's another Predator movie coming out the same year from the same guy.
Okay.
How did he get it all done that quickly? 2 movies in 1 year.
Because it's just low effort slop, really, and they do everything in post-production. That's why. Red Snow said, oh no, Shane H. Wilder, Sam Rockwell could be interesting for Bateman.
Kind of old, though.
Wait,
Sam Rockwell's kind of old now.
How old is Patrick Bateman supposed to be? He's kind of ageless.
He's like, what, in his late 20s?
This says Sam Rockwell is 55. Yeah.
Too old.
Sounds too old. Raymond G. Stanley Jr. Brett, I did end up watching Hitman. It was quite good, and I was impressed with the story and the acting. The ending was unexpected and satisfying.
I had some issues with elements of it that just didn't add up. I can't even remember what they were off the top of my head. But if I catch the inconsistencies in the script, it's bad because I'm such a
Well, because we both do this thing where we assume that if something doesn't make sense, we just overlooked it. Like, we're the problem.
That is the best way to look at things. It keeps you from looking like an idiot as often, right?
But then usually when I do my due diligence, it's really just a plot hole.
Yeah.
Greg Duvier said, how did Mary Morgan not make the list?
Yeah, for Patrick Bateman.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
How are you going to make put Conclave at the theaters, but not The Carpenter? Come on.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's giving anti-Christian. Surinko Productions said, oh, so that's why Meryl Streep was randomly in Murders in the Building and dating Martin Short's character while also ripping a joint.
I mean, maybe they fell in love on set. I have no idea.
Started smoking joints on set and fallen in love. Potatoes for Seamus said Mocha needs to open a coffee stand next to Brett's and Frank's. Put them in front of a diner called Mary's Cringe Cafe. What would Mary serve there?
What would you serve there? Zins and coffee?
Literally,
and
we only
coffee?
have black coffee. If you want cream in your coffee, go somewhere else. Go to one of these zesty cafes like Starbucks or Caribou. And we only have black coffee and cigarettes and Zins. That's it. And you can smoke inside.
It's like that old skit, Arnold's Pizza Shop, where Arnold Schwarzenegger is a voicemail and he's Arnold's Pizza Shop. We always serve us pepperoni and 9mm bullets.
Shane H. Wilder said Brett did a short for PCC instead of Mary. Nice. You did your first.
Yeah. Talking about the
green
fact
screen video.
The fact that Red 1 is about to bomb, guys. $253 million they spent on it. $36 million it's going to open to.
And you're the one who is going to see it.
Literally just me.
You're one of like the 12 people who's going to see it.
It's going to be just me. Nobody else.
This is what I'm saying. The Rock isn't that guy. He's not who he thinks he is.
He's that guy.
No, he's not a box office draw. We've seen this repeatedly.
Jumanji proves that he can do it.
Okay, it doesn't mean he's like reliably. He's had more misses than hits
lately. Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's over.
That was the point that I made in the video. I go, look, Jungle Cruise made $220 million on a $200 million budget. Not enough to justify its making because, they only keep half of that. And then you got to throw in marketing. And then Black Adam wasn't able to save the DCEU.
They're just spinning their wheels.
I was like, and in the thing, I'm like, Red 1, not to be confused with Red Notice, which The Rock made back in 2021. Different movie.
They're going to make a sequel called Red 2.
It's already a movie.
Ale Million said, I can share on the voicemail the stories. Got to double check. I don't think we signed an NDA at the time.
Okay. Well,
I can't believe you would have to sign an NDA to be a retail employee. Like, that's even that in and of itself would be suspicious.
Sus, as they say.
It would be sus. There was a lot of sus details about their business practices. Shane H. Wilder said Cheddar's is like Chili's. Yes, Texas Roadhouse is in Texas.
Okay.
I've never seen or heard of a Cheddar's in my
now
life.
I want to go to a Cheddar's just to say that I did.
A serious man said, I think it's horrible the way the feds squeezed OJ. Can't squeeze. What was it? Can't squeeze the. Did he call himself the juice?
Yes.
That was his nickname. Robert Steinhauer said, disgusting. Let's not let this continue. I agree.
Well, look, so here, to the point, I saw Rick C in the chat said that this is not pop culture about that third topic. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we talk about social media trends all the time, so this is nothing new for our show.
What I find interesting about it is it kind of is like
it is
in a way. Sure, it's not Hollywood and it's not video games, but the kids these days aren't watching Hollywood. They're playing video games, sure, but social media has a greater impact on the culture now than any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. It was like the meet the new A-listers thing.
Shout out to Rick in the chat, though, for trying to keep us honest as best as he can.
Yeah, shout out. Rhaegar Targaryen said the train video making me want to go straight to mass. Well, that's good. That's a good reaction. Shane H. Wilder said another one for the OnlyFans Nightmare Fuel book. Yeah, I'm going to have to add that to the list. It's Just I can't ever say that I'm done because more and more horrifying things keep happening. Nate said, this is why we used to do... Oh, I already read that one. Shane H. Wilder. Honestly, this just makes me sad. No one involved had respect for themselves or the others involved. Same goes for anyone who watched her do it. I agree. And did you see this horrifying headline about this woman in France who her husband drugged her and had a bunch of men rape her in a hotel room or something. And
that was a couple weeks ago, right?
It wasn't that long ago that came out. But I am convinced that the men in question in that situation were influenced by porn. And some of that overlaps with exactly the porn that woman on OnlyFans is producing.
Yeah.
And it just dulls your senses and it dulls your moral conscience to the point where you would possibly get to the point to do something like that.
Yeah.
You know? Pop Culture Junkie said, so glad you provide the latest Taco Bell news also. I guess we were late to that.
I would love some Taco Bell right now. I would. I've earned this.
I'm still waiting to feel like getting the chicken Big Mac. Like, I need to be in the mood to have a chicken Big Mac. Because I'm not really
work
like
your way up to it.
I'm not really a McDonald's person. Like, usually if I'm going to McDonald's for food, it has to be a McGriddle.
Okay.
So
I don't go to McDonald's really ever. Like
they fell off.
The last time I went to a McDonald's, this is the saddest story ever. The line at Sheetz was just too long. So I went to the drive-thru at McDonald's, and then when I was done, I just regretted it.
Yeah.
It just wasn't good.
Yeah, they fell off. Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said you can buy cheap fake SFX blood that looks real.
Well, why would you do that? Why?
Why would you buy it when you have free blood?
When you can bottle your own free flow
Ew.
and rub it all over yourself to make your Chucky Halloween costume more authentic.
Yeah.
You people have no inspiration. It's disgusting.
You just wouldn't understand her dedication to Halloween costumes. Edmundo Jr. Petruzziello? I did not say that right, sorry. The problem isn't the degeneracy itself. Like Brett said, it's been around forever. It's the glorification and new ability for people to mass market it. Well, I agree with that point. However, I do think in absolute numbers, there is more sexual promiscuity than there used to be. Okay. At the very least in the West.
I mean, I wonder how much of it is like when shame was a more common thing. I wonder if human behavior just wasn't different, but because of shame, it just wasn't spoken about.
Yeah, but the anti-shame people want you to believe that. But we all know that shame is effective at changing people's behaviors.
But wouldn't the technique of eliminating shame from the public consciousness work to benefit them? So if people have been cheating and stepping out on their husbands or wives for forever, it was just probably, was it always as common? And now it's just seen as the type of thing where people just don't feel shame anymore. Right?
I genuinely don't think that sexual promiscuity was as common 100 years ago.
Okay.
In this country, at the very least. Just, that's what I can speak on. I don't think
Chat, I would be
everyone was always behaving this way. It was just hidden. No, I don't think so. Pete Donovan said, with such a shortage of perfect podcasts in this world, it would be a pity to waste this one. So glad the show's continuing. Long may you reign.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't think we're perfect, but...
Well, I mean, I wasn't going to say it, but...
Thanks. He also said, Mary, do you abstain from meat every Friday or just during Lent? I find it more devotional and easier to just abstain year-round than to perform an alternative form of penance. Yeah, every Friday. I didn't always, because I actually wasn't raised even knowing about that, penance on Fridays. I wasn't raised knowing about that practice or that tradition, so I started probably a few years back. Boosted Yogi said...
Do you find that difficult?
No, I mean, I don't care about food.
She's like, it's not...
Maybe I should pick something else, really, because it's not like I'm sacrificing that much.
From the Zins on a Friday?
From the Zins? Oh, that would be a task.
Maybe try it one week just to see.
Yeah, maybe during Lent.
Well, like I always tell you, like I do the little experiments on myself by like adding and removing things from diet or routine. Maybe try that just for a Friday.
Or I could like reduce the amount and see how it goes. It's weird because I really enjoy zinning, but when I don't zin for some period of time, I don't like get a headache or whatever. Like I don't have symptoms of withdrawal.
Yeah. I do still from sugar, like when I go through longer periods. So when I cut out soda initially, I just, without even thinking about it, consumed more candy. And then once I tried to stop consuming the candy, then I would get the mild headache for a little bit. Not super noticeable. And the lucky thing about perspective is like when you've gone through severe opiate withdrawal, you're like, okay, this kind of sucks, but
like it always could be worse.
I don't want to die, and that's a good thing.
Boosted Yogi said, mine is people that misuse accept and accept. Yeah, there are a ton like that.
I want an example of the words that I still want an example of the words that you were that you said I should have known how to spell.
I don't know. It's just I have no idea.
I'm so self-conscious about it now. I'm, gonna be like, I'm just gonna Google it.
Now you're never gonna ask me to check the spelling of anything ever again.
I'm never gonna ask.
I guess that sounds mean. I'm sorry.
I don't consider myself a horrible speller, though. That's what's funny about it. I look at the way people type on Twitter, and I'm honestly shocked.
People are functionally illiterate now.
So it's like, I'm like, oh, okay, just because you went to a 4-year college doesn't mean that...
Me?
You left, but, you know...
I dropped out after 1 year.
But you were a good student, right? I was like, just because you were a good student and I wasn't doesn't mean I don't know how to spell.
Going to college doesn't mean anything. Corey Anderson said, not of this world or what would Jesus do bracelets.
Oh, okay.
Were these bracelets? I don't know what, like... You're like assuming that I know what you're talking about. I've never.
Those were the abbreviations in that tweet from earlier. Were you a?
But people wore these.
I
like
guess.
This is a thing. I
People
remember
definitely wore "What Would Jesus Do" bracelets. I remember that.
I remember the bracelets that said "I heart boobies." Remember when those were a thing?
Wasn't that like a breast cancer thing?
It was, but people just wore them.
That fell,
like whatever.
That falls perfectly into the irony of the time period. Ironic T-shirts.
It's breast cancer awareness. So you're aware of breast cancer now. Hope that changes your day.
Everything is always about raising awareness.
Pete Donovan said, "Good band name, Brett's Brainrot." You like it?
Yeah. Brett Rot wouldn't be too bad.
Brett Rot. Weary Traveler said, "I would spend all my free time at Mary's Cafe." Yeah, I mean, if you can
afford it.
If you can afford it.
Food's gonna be expensive there.
Yeah. Corey Anderson said, "Mary, do you smoke? I believe the black coffee. I do drink black coffee. I do not smoke. I just consume nicotine without smoking." High Voltage 75 said, "Did Bateman really kill or was it his imagination?" I'm pretty sure that it's supposed to be real, right?
I think they said that, from what I remember, like the final scene is left up to interpretation, but
where they paint how do you know this? You haven't watched it.
Because I've watched what do you call them, like the film theory stuff on it.
Even though you haven't watched it, how do you? But why? What's the point? Okay.
I was broke at a time. I couldn't afford movies or Netflix.
I mean, you could afford Tubi.
I didn't have. No, I couldn't.
I
don't think Tubi was. If it was around at that time, I just wouldn't have watched commercials.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Black coffee and zins, a Mary's Cafe. I'd never leave except on Sundays and holy days of obligation because it would be closed. But we'd be 24/7, 24/6, 24 hours a day, every other day, which is what I believe every business should do." Ryan Bledsoe said, "TGI Fridays, Jack Daniel's grilled chicken, Cheddar's croissants, and Texas Roadhouse rolls are chef's kiss."
Now I'm hungry again.
The Texas Roadhouse rolls are pretty good.
Not gonna lie, I'm a Cracker Barrel fan now.
Really? What do you get there?
I get the meatloaf at Cracker Barrel.
Is this every time?
Every time.
Bro eats like he's 80 years old.
Yeah, I do. I love it.
You either eat like you're 80 years old or 5. There's no in between.
There is no in between.
Greg Duvier said, "I'm Brett's age and still can't spell."
That's okay, man.
Well, everything was correct in your super chat, so I think you're good.
I point out on a regular basis, I preface so much of what I say. I'm like, look, I'm a dummy. So usually it's to point out, like, if I'm dumb and I understand this, how do these people not understand it, whatever it is that we're talking about?
But I think when you say that, you mean like my taste isn't sophisticated.
I'm legitimately dumb.
I don't think that you're dumb.
I'm legitimately dumb.
Jeez, this is like...
Set your bar low and you'll always exceed them.
I hope you're joking. You shouldn't think that about yourself.
You should always exceed your expectations.
Lyman to Coconut said technology makes it possible to do things without getting noticed by people who disapprove. How would that woman recruit 101 guys before social media or before people lived in large enough groups?
Again, they would have needed the porn studio back in the day to recruit them.
I hate thinking about this. Surinko Productions said the idea of hidden promiscuity was a psyop by Freud and PDF file sexologists like Kinsey to plant the seeds of the sexual revolution in the 70s and 80s. 100% agree.
Interesting.
Shane H. Wilder said, Mary, you might like my upcoming Catholic Friends post on Sunday. I made a memento mori thing for All Saints / All Souls. My only sustenance today is 6 shrimp. No zins would end me up in confession.
Did we get the manic? I'm sorry. Did we get the manic mustache one? Late as usual and apropos.
Oh my gosh, I didn't see that one. Sorry. Late as usual, but apropos to shady hiring practices. Got hired at Hollister when I was in college. Mustache was backpacking through Europe at the time. Never did anything Cuomo, but was offered retreats more than once.
Glad you didn't take them.
Retreats? It sounds like you almost ended up at one of these freak-offs. Yep. That's crazy.
There's a 20 from Weary Traveler.
Oh, didn't see that one either. No Cracker Barrel slander. This is a pro Cracker Barrel stream.
Absolutely.
I'm pro Cracker Barrel. I'm just anti buying meatloaf in general.
And they have the little board with the golf tee game where you have to. I read this story where a daughter, like after her dad died, she was like cleaning out his home and found in his sock drawer like a letter to her, like addressed specifically to her, and inside was the instructions on how to beat the game.
Yeah, I want to ask you, did you ever play paper football with your brother growing up? Was that a thing?
At school I did.
Yeah.
Never with my brother. My brother was 7 years older than me. He spent most of his time making fun of me or, you know, being the older brother.
Doing typical older brother things.
We got along. As best as two kids who are 7 years apart can.
Except for that one time.
Except for the one time when I got the cut.
I literally was thinking of that.
Oh no! Okay, so I have another story about that. And this is one. Speaking of like blocking stuff out. When I was home last, my dad told me the story where apparently. So when I was very young, I've told you guys before, I'm deaf in my right ear. I had 2 attempts at like reconstructing the eardrum, like 2 major surgeries. And apparently, I never heard the story. After one of those surgeries, me and my brother were fighting. My dad used that word, roughhousing. And apparently, horsing around, and apparently peeled my whole ear back, and he could see the inside of my skull.
How is that even possible?
I have no recollection of this whatsoever. I was pretty young when those surgeries happened.
How young, you think?
I would have been 7 or 8.
Oh my gosh. And you don't remember this?
I remember
you have to go to the hospital and get your ears sewn back on?
I remember the biting through the tongue because I bit through my entire tongue. I remember the first time that I got the concussion on the top of my head. I remember all the skating injuries. I remember the chin injury. Like I remember most of the things that have, happened to me.
That one you blocked out.
The skating ones, I remember all the skating injuries. The one that happened playing baseball, I remember that. The one falling out of the tree, I remember that. Remember all of those. Have no recollection of my brother pulling my ear off my head.
I still haven't broken a bone, and I hope I never do.
Fun fact, you live a pretty safe life. You should be.
You're like, you don't take risks.
God willing. The only bone, like in all the years of skating, I've torn a bunch of ligaments, which arguably sucks worse because it takes longer to heal torn ligaments. But the only broken bone I ever had was playing hockey, not skating. So I broke my collarbone when I was very young playing hockey. The rest of the time, it was all, torn ligaments in my knees or my ankles, but never any broken bones. Except for my fingers, I've broken all 10 fingers multiple times.
All 10?
All 10.
sometimes multiple at once.
Yes.
Edmundo Jr. Petruciello said it was a better attempt than most, Mary, but you can just call me Eddie if you want. I'm with you on shame. The glorification is due to a lack of shame. Okay, I'll call you Eddie. Thank you for making that allowance. But the thing is, I really believe they are ashamed. Yeah, and that they're compensating for the fact that they're ashamed. Thank you.
I mean, I just wonder how much is like society has bred a lack of shame into women so heavily.
That's number 5?
Yes. Like, I just wonder how much of it is that society has bred a lack of shame into women so thoroughly that it's not even overcompensating. It just isn't a muscle that can be flexed for them.
Right. Well, I definitely think your conscience can be dulled and weakened after a long time of obstinately doing the wrong thing. But still, no one ever loses that little voice, I feel, telling them that what they're doing is wrong. Weary Traveler, already read that one. Rhaegar Targaryen said chicken fried steak at Cracker Barrel, let's go. Do you get that?
No.
That's not really my thing either.
Olivia gets chicken fried steak sometimes.
But it's Cracker Barrel, like you should get breakfast food, right?
No.
That makes more sense to me.
Not I.
Okay. The Manic Mustache said, happy to report that my... Okay, I'm not going to say that. Pete Donovan said, Brett, fun fact, Money Plane made $618 million, I assume you mean, on a budget of... Wait, what?
On a budget of how much?
$586,000?
$618 on a budget of $5 million. That's awesome.
I've never
$618. So I never saw this movie. It's got Adam Copeland in it. For those of you who don't know, that's Edge, the wrestler. Kelsey Grammer, Denise Richards. This movie sounds freaking awesome. Thomas Jane. Patrick, okay. It says, a professional thief with $40 million in debt and his family's life on the line must commit to one final heist, rob a futuristic airborne casino filled with the world's most dangerous criminals.
This is the most Brett movie
This
I've
is
ever
like,
heard.
the real question is, why am I not the 18 of the $618?
Evan Perry said, my broken elbow healed in a couple months. The torn ligaments in my wrist took a whole year.
Yeah, torn
That's
ligaments
rough.
suck.
Shane H. Wilder said, heads up, Trump dropped some new dance moves.
I did see that.
Really?
Did you see that he's maybe you'll have to start doing this. So on top of this,
okay,
he has now incorporated the golf swing.
Oh.
So there's more now.
Okay, he's learning new choreography in his spare time.
Yes.
While he's campaigning. I think we're all caught up on the super chats.
Yep,
oh, no, one more from Norville Rising. When I was 4, a dart was thrown into my cheek. I vividly remember getting hit. However, I don't remember the plastic surgery that was required to fix my cheek.
Yo.
That sounds brutal.
Yeah, the only thing that I remember from any of the surgeries that I've ever had was how much I hated the smell of the gas that they give you to put you under.
Oh.
I hate, it was like, to this day.
What can you compare it to anything?
Cherry awfulness.
Cherry. So they try to make it more pleasant for you.
It's basically like if somebody said, "Hey, go make a cherry fume in a lab," and it was awful.
It sounds awful.
All right, guys. Before we go, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here yet already? Please and thank you.
Send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. Guys, you can follow me on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would prefer to listen rather than watch this show. And if you go over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and a review. Please and thank you for that. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok because we were banned on TikTok, at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Go ahead, Mary. There's
one more from Brian Bledsoe. Want to keep unbroke bones streak going? Drive safe. Have a good weekend, PCC.
That's
I'll
true.
try.
Drive safe. All right, guys. We will be back with another episode on Monday. We will see you then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.